Good morning. Welcome to our first CTE Lunch and Learn for School Counselors CDCs for school year 23-24. I am Amy Policastro Schrader, the Career Development Consultant at DPI CTE. And this Lunch and Learn series is a collaboration with Dr. Keisha Bryant, School Counseling Consultant at DPI, who's on the screen if you can see her. Keisha, would you like to say hello?
Good morning. Glad to be doing year 2 of a collaboration with our CTE partners, and looking forward to all the learning that will take place on today.
Thank you, Keisha. With us today for this inaugural session for the school year is Ashley Matthews-Smith, CTE Middle Grades Consultant, and Jacqueline Wyatt, CTE Career Readiness Specialist. And these two wonderful colleagues will be speaking to you about welcome to the CTE 5th grade career awareness and middle grade CTE. The session again is recorded. I will be monitoring the chat and providing some information to you. And Ash, if we go to the next slide. We know you've logged in today and that you have registered. However, I'm going to put a URL into the chat. You can also access the URL from the QR code here. This is an extra attendance check-in. If you would please log in to this and put your name in the attendance. Oops. Yes, that one in the chat, either through the QR code or the link in the chat. This asks us just to confirm that you are in the room today. We do get a report of who's here, but there's some extra data that will help us understand exactly who you are, and we can do follow-up as needed. There will be an attendance checkout at the end of the session as well for a timestamp that you are here and you are here for the full session, because there is CEU awarded. And then throughout, I'll put another URL for you to have access to should you have any follow-up questions after the session. And with that, thank you. Let me go through, some housekeeping. Thank you, Ashley. So some quick housekeeping items for you. We have various presenters throughout the session today. We've got program areas from CTE, the middle grade consultant, and our career readiness specialist. These are live sessions. When you're attending live, you earn the 0.1 CEU. After complete attendance, access or record, I should say, of attending is put on your NCDPI transcript. Your check-in and check-out will help determine the length of time you've been here. The recordings are all shared to Dr. Keisha Bryant, who shares them out to school counselors, and I will share them out through the CTE Career Development Coordinator Moodle. And with that, I'll pass it on. Thank you, Ashley.
Hi, actually, this is Jacqueline Wyatt. I'm going to jump in before Ashley this morning, if that's okay. We thought we would go in grade order. So it's nice to meet you all. My name is Jacqueline Wyatt. I'm the Career Readiness Specialist for the Career and Technical Education Division at DPI. And among other things, I work with 5th grade career awareness. So I'm very excited to be here with you all today. Over the moon, actually, because school counselors and CDCs are two groups of folks that I'd love to be in front of as much as possible to share resources with and connect with and see how we can help each other. So my two goals today will be to share my resources with you and then to open it up for us to be able to connect with one another in the future. Okay, so I'm just going to jump into it with existing resources for 5th grade career awareness. In 2021, we developed the 5th grade career awareness toolkit, which I will go over with you a little bit in depth here in a minute. We also, let's see, we have a 5th grade career awareness folder on Google for school counselors. which will be shared with middle grade. It also has a shared folder in there for middle grades information. We opened that up specifically for this lunch and learn, but have been told since we opened that up that you all can have access to our Moodle PLC, which is where we share all of our information. So be on the lookout for that information. That's something that I'll have to do behind the scenes, and it will be it'll be a little while. So between now and then, we're ecstatic to share with you our shared Google folder, where you'll see a folder that has 5th grade career awareness resources. Everything that I'm talking to you about today will be in that folder. And then Ashley Matthews Smith will have a middle grades folder, or does have a middle grades folder, and we'll share with you accordingly. The next thing, and we don't have cameras on, and that's okay, but many of you might have heard of the career development continuum. If you haven't, that's totally okay. We're going to talk about it here in a minute. We added a 5th grade column to the continuum to bring 5th grade into the world of career awareness education. And we did that in 2021 as well. Sorry if you can hear my dogs in the background. I tried to get them put away as good as possible. The next thing is very exciting, the 5th grade career awareness education panel. I can't wait to talk to you about that one. We did have a school counselor present for that as a representative. And we got some awesome information there, and created a report based on that information. So yeah, can't wait to talk to you about that one. And then lastly, and this is I threw it in because I thought it might be good information for some folks who like to read, and I know nobody really has, especially school counselors. I know you guys are swamped, but if you do have some time and you're interested in finding out what other PSUs are doing, you can read the 5th grade career awareness survey report, which is a legislative requirement that we have to do annually. All right, so let's jump into the resources. Okay, so my first baby, when I joined the CTE team, other than some grant work that I do, was the 5th grade career awareness toolkit. It was developed to assist educators in preparing students to pursue their chosen path after graduating high school. Notice it says educators. It doesn't specifically say career and technical education personnel. This toolkit can be used by anyone from CTE personnel to school counselors to teachers. It contains unpacked content, resources, and instructional activities. The materials are samples that may be augmented, modified, or replaced for the teaching and learning experiences. One moment, please. Okay, sorry about that. So it's not that these samples may be augmented, modified, or replaced. We encourage you to do so because we know that you know your students and you know your districts better than anyone else. So the toolkit has examples throughout, lesson plans. It has, we might be able to go to the next slide. Nope, we should say this one, sorry. It has, so within the toolkit, and if I could share my screen, I would show you, it basically explains the career and technical education vision for students from grades 5 through 12. And the continuum is part of the toolkit, but it also provides about 12 pages of activities that any instructor can do with students to engage them in career awareness. And the good thing about these activities is, well, first and foremost, many of them are also in Spanish. So you have English version as well as the Spanish version, but also you can use them with 4th grade, you can use them with 6th grade, depending on your needs. They're not specific to 5th grade. Yeah, so we can move on to the next. Thank you. So the folder I mentioned, I do have a little screenshot here of the folder, what it looks like. It's very frank. It's just a folder of resources. It was designed as a one-stop shop location online where school counselors, CDs, and CDCs can view resources developed by the CTE team at DPI to help with 5th grade career awareness education initiatives, as well as middle grades. There is a link embedded in this PowerPoint. I can also share that in the chat box or in the chat section. And then if you look at the screenshot here, you'll see there is the toolkit, the continuum I've mentioned, which I know we've updated the look of the continuum. I don't know if that's ready yet, but that will be, once that's ready, that will be replaced. And then also the report, which if you love to read, the report's for you. If you're not so into it or don't have the free time, don't feel pressure to read that report. That report just goes over what other folks across the state who have adopted a 5th grade career awareness program, what they are doing. Due to legislation, it states that if a PSU has adopted a 5th grade program, then they must report on it. So there are some innovative things in there, some interesting things going on for sure. I'm so sorry if you can hear my dog. All right, next slide. She's a puppy. Okay, so here's the career development continuum. As you can see, it's for every grade level, we have an overall goal, right? An overall definition of what we'd like to see career education wise, and it might be too small on your screen. I certainly can't read it. But for 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, we have an overall definition of what career awareness or career education would look like for those students. Then there are sample student learning outcomes, and then sample experiences. So we go to the next page, we'll get a more in-depth look at what the 5th grade, yeah, perfect. So for example, and I know I'm going through this really quickly, if you have any questions, please stop me, raise your hand if you can, or send me something in the chat box. So the 5th grade column states that career awareness prepares students by introducing them to the meaning of the word career and exploring what that might mean for them individually, because the word career is an abstract concept. I was in a collaboration station with career development coordinators about 2 years ago now, maybe 3. And, we were going through all of these resources together, and I had someone raise his hand, and he said, and he stopped me in my tracks because he had a really great question. He said, yes, Jacqueline, my question is, how do you explain the abstract concept of a career to a 10-year-old? And it just kind of got me thinking, because it was a phenomenal question. So what I really want to focus on here is that last bullet over in sample experiences, what makes me happy? And so you'll notice that every resource that I put out, or that we put out for 5th grade, I'm so sorry, one moment. She's a puppy. Okay, that's just the worst. I'm so sorry about that. Every resource that I put out is centered around what makes me happy. If you can remember being in the 5th grade, I'm sure you weren't thinking about, something that you have to do for 40 hours a week for 40 years. So we just want these kids to think, well, I like working with my hands. I'm very artistic. I like drawing or whatever, and then really play on their strengths and do career-centered games, different things like that really focus on what makes them happy. So for the student learning outcome, a student sample learning outcome for 5th grade students would be that students would become aware of what a career is. So they understand now this abstract concept. We've explained to them that it's this thing they have to do, throughout their lives in order to earn money to live. They can talk about some of these careers that they have learned about and are exposed to self-awareness for potential career likes and dislikes. So that self-awareness comes in the form of some assessments, but we really get into the assessments more in the 6th grade portion of the career development continuum. So we really want to focus here on what makes me happy. But like I said, playing career-centered games, having career-centered discussions, maybe a career day with local businesses. We see this a lot, like Touch a Truck Day, things like that. Career discussions. So for that one, we have the career discussions in the 5th grade career awareness toolkit, and those are included in Spanish. Guest speakers. Ashley Matthew Smith and I have done a showcase and spotlight tour where we had the privilege visiting several PSUs throughout North Carolina and seeing what they're doing with their students for career awareness education. And the students, we got to see some guest speakers. It was virtual, but the students, one of them was virtual and one of them was like a career fair where it was a lot of guest speakers. The students loved it. They ate it up, and their enthusiasm was contagious. And Ashley and I became really enthusiastic and excited because it was sixth graders at this point, and they were just asking so many. It was a realtor company that they were asking questions, and you would be surprised what these students were asking. They were saying, how much money do you make, and how many hours in a day do you work, and how many days do you have to work a week, and what's the funnest part about your job? And so their engagement was really, really contagious and exciting. And then, of course, and I know I went through this sample experiences backwards. My apologies, but the definition of career. And I have found that exploring the definition of career is easiest when folks use resources from nccareers.org, which you're all super familiar with, I'm sure. Okay, so the next resource is, I'm not biased. I don't want to be biased here, but this is my new favorite resource that we have. This is the fifth grade career awareness education panel. So this panel combined a group of NC professionals in various roles in education. So we had a career development coordinator, a school counselor, a CTE director. We had one individual who had been a career development coordinator who had moved into a student services position. And we also had a fifth grade teacher. So I wanted to make sure we had one representative from every part of the spectrum, right? Because it's, or the pie, because it certainly is a pie of groups or of folks, sorry, who work on not only CTE, but who work on career awareness education for all grades. So I wanted to have a representative from each sector here, if you will. And the emphasis of this panel was on innovative practices to engage fifth grade students in career awareness education. So the panel was recorded, and I did produce a report on the panel as well. And if you are more of a, I want to listen and learn type person, I would recommend the recording, which is uploaded in your shared Google folder via G Suite. And then if you're more of a reader, you can go and check out the report. Each page is essentially one of we had 5 questions, and we heard from each panelist on the question, and there's a quote from each panelist. And so you get the perspective from not only the school counselor, but the CDC and the fifth grade teacher, and then the CTE director. You get everyone's perspective on these questions, which include, what are some difficulties or issues that you run into when it comes to fifth grade career awareness education, but also what are some of the fun and innovative things that you've done? Explain them to us, please, and tell us how they went, things like that. So yeah, if you're a listener, and for me personally, I went through and re-listened to it, and I sort of did it like a podcast. I set it down on my phone and listened to it as I was, doing the dishes, and it was really informative. Even though I was there, it was really informative going back and listening again, and hearing some of the brilliant strategies that these folks have. So definitely check out that resource. Okay, so I've used about 15 minutes. That's my last one, and we can go to the next slide. So there's my contact information, and I'm eager to connect with school counselors. Absolutely eager. You can reach out to me via email. I would love to do collaboration stations with you if you are interested. Oh, there we go. There's always your shared Google folder, which once I get you uploaded to our Moodle PLC, which is where we put all of our CTE stuff, I'll let you know. And then I'd always be happy to do one-on-one meetings, or meetings within your PSU, or a group of multiple PSUs coming together. We've done that with CDCs before, where there are localized PSUs who like several counties that surround each other who get together and discuss things that way. The link to the report, yes, what I'll do is I'll share in the chat box, I'll share the link to the shared folder, and that will bring up the report. But that's it for me. Are there any questions before we move on in the chat? Again, sorry about my dog. She's a puppy and I tried to keep her quiet. All right, over to you, Ashley.
Thank you, Jacqueline. Good morning, everyone. I am Ashley Matthew Smith. I am the middle grades education consultant for DPI. And I feel like I've been here 2 years and a couple of months now. I stopped keeping up with the months, but 2 years exact in a couple of months. Continuing on what Jacqueline was talking about with the middle grades career continuum, she spoke more about the 5th grade portion, and I want to move more into what that looks like for 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. As Jacqueline stated, we do have a new template. It hasn't quite been approved yet to release to the public, but once that is approved, we will get that out to you. So starting with 6th grade. In 6th grade, when you look at the career development continuum, that is more of a focus for a career awareness and self-knowledge, because as you know, there are 5th grade babies and they're just coming out fresh and brand new to middle school. So it's kind of still a play on what they were doing in 5th grade, but with more of a focus on career awareness and self-knowledge, which is basically them taking their likes and learning more about their dislikes and how those can be related to careers. Then you have 7th grade, which is more of a focus on knowledge of the world of work and education, which basically in 7th grade, they should start to be able to give examples of how skills and interests relate to careers, because so 6th grade, you learn about your likes and dislikes, and then 7th, 8th grade, how those skills relate more to career fields and occupations, like exactly how does that align. And then in 8th grade, they're getting ready for high school, so they should start focusing more on the decision making and goal setting. Basically, it's just how their educational performance aligns with how they can make their goals and what decisions they make. And I do talk a little fast, so if I'm talking too fast, somebody put in the chat, Ashley, slow it down. And I'm from the country, so that may slip out a little bit too. So just say, Ashley, slow down. A couple of examples of some of our 6th grade career awareness and self-knowledge experiences might include learning style assessments to kind of gauge what learning style is best for kids. You know, you have some that are verbal, some that are, need to see it. That's what type of learner I am. I need to see it, feel it, touch it. All the way into starting with our CTSOs. In 6th grade, we can get students even interested in joining CTSOs or even learning more about CTSOs, and it may be interacting as in joining or just being presented with what the CTSO is. In 7th grade, instead of doing, since they did their learning assessment in 6th grade, and 7th grade, it may look more like on a career assessment now, kind of them showing what careers they may be interested in from their likes and dislikes. And then that may also include guest speakers, career days. As Jacqueline mentioned, we've been on showcase and spotlights and seen various types of career days. We've seen, I don't want to call it food truck, but it's like a career truck rodeo. I've heard of those where they would have companies come to the parking lot, students will go outside and kind of rotate around to more of our traditional career fairs that may be hosted in the gym or the library. We've seen the virtual guest speakers where they had contacted a speaker from a different part of the state to come in because they couldn't get them locally. So even having those virtual guest speakers can work out. Them starting to develop their time management skills, what that looks like. So those are some experiences they may have in 7th grade. And then in 8th grade, some of the experiences now go to focus on goal setting and decision making, or more emphasis on that, having more events around that. Business tours, more field trips, going to actual businesses, large companies, small companies, so students can get a feel of the workplace and what people actually do in their workplace. Volunteer opportunities, maybe let 8th grade volunteer to do a couple of things. And identifying career and college pathways, because of course they're getting ready to move into high school. And so kind of get them to focus on what type of CTE class or things you would like to focus on moving into your high school career. Any questions so far about the middle grades career continuum? And all this information will be available to you. As Jacqueline stated, we do have a middle grades Google folder, and also I have a middle grades career Moodle PLC that if you are not part of that, if you will send me an email, I will get you the enrollment key to join, or you can get it from your CIMC for the CDCs. So now talking about the programs that we have in middle grades, some may not know that we have a lot of courses and modules that we do offer. For this section, it is kind of cram-packed with information. So to make it a little more interactive, we're going to take a lap. So don't leave, because you should not be physically tired after this. It's going to be a professional development lap. And lap stands for you're going to learn, apply, and participate. And to do this, you're going to have a lap bingo card. I'm going to give you access. I'm going to put the link in the chat in a few minutes. It should ask you to make a forced copy, which will be your copy. And that card has a couple of things for you to do to participate. If you do get bingo and you want to share it with me, that's my email address. Share it with me by using ashley.matthews-smith@dpi.nc.gov, and you will win bragging rights. So let me give you the link. I'll put that. Okay, wait, it's not letting me grab it like I want to. One moment. All right. So it should ask you to make a fourth copy. So I'll give you a minute to get that open and get access to your bingo card. Let me know in the chat if anyone's having a problem. It should come up and should say copy, and you're able to make your own copy.
It worked for me, Ashley.
Thank you, Jacqueline. All right, so let's move on. Let's first start with what are the differences between a course and a module. You may have not have heard of this terminology before, but in middle grades, we do two separate curriculums per se. One are our courses. Our courses are approximately 45 hours of content, and those courses, the CTE licensed teacher in that content area must teach those courses. So they have to have that specific license to be able to teach that specific course. Then we also have our modules, which are a little shorter. They're approximately 30 hours because the modules were kind of designed where you can kind of plug and play various ones within one semester. There are 30 hours of content, and they can be taught by any licensed CTE area. So courses, they have to be licensed in that area. Modules, they can be licensed in any content area to teach the modules. So now this is the portion where you should have your bingo cards up, because again, this is a lot of information. So instead of going through and reading every last single course and every last single course code to you, this is where your bingo card is going to come in handy. So first we're going to look at our agriculture education courses. So looking at your bingo card, see if you are are you learning something right now? There's something you need to apply or something you need to participate in. All the courses you see here the teacher has to be licensed in this area. So they have to have an agriculture education license to teach any of these courses. So take a minute and view these courses and respond on your bingo card. All right. Next, we'll move on to business, finance, and marketing courses. We currently have 4 that teachers have to be licensed with a BFM license to be able to teach any of these courses. You may be looking and wondering what happened to our Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint. We'll talk about that next. They have moved over into our CSIT. So yes, in the chat, someone's participating in their bingo and they say they have BY10. All right, and then moving on, and please pardon this correction, it recently has turned into an extra T, so that is CSIT. So it's Computer Science, Information Technology, and Technology Education courses. And for these following courses, you do have to have a license. In some of these, as you see, as you're coding, I know that you can also be licensed in business to be teaching some of our computer science classes as well. But those are the two areas that I'm aware of that you can be licensed in, technology or business. Just take a minute. And as you can see now, our keyboarding and basic word processing, introduction to office productivity and office productivity applications is now listed with the CSIT content area and not in business anymore. Next, we have our family and consumer science courses. All of these courses, again, the teacher has to be licensed in this content area to be able to teach any of these courses. And as you see, it's FY15 will soon be phasing out and will be replaced by EY12, Exploring Financial Literacy. That will be released Summer Conference 2024. And then we have our technology, engineering, design courses that are third-party vendors, even through ITEA or Project Lead the Way. And all of these courses, you have to have a license in technology, engineering, and design, technology education to be able to teach any of these courses. Along with Project Lead the Way, you have to go through the Project Lead the Way training. And now moving on to our modules. Our modules are our curriculum for middle grades that any licensed CTE teacher can teach, meaning, let's say if we have a agricultural curriculum and you have a license in business, you can teach that module. Modules are open to any licensed CTE teacher. And our first two are EY10 and EY11, which are exploring our personal characteristic and careers, and exploring careers and employment. Those two modules can be taught by any licensed CTE teacher. Then we move along to our health science modules. We currently have 3 of those, exploring healthcare, and they're broken into 3 different parts, which is going from our medical terms to our careers, and those can be taught by any licensed CTE teacher. And last, we have our trade and industrial. We have TY40, exploring our safety and trades, all the way up to TY50, exploring carpentry. Then we have electrical trades, masonry, and automotive service. And these modules can be taught by any licensed CTE teacher. Exploring Masonry and Exploring Automotive Services are our two newest ones. And coming summer 2024, we'll be releasing EY12, Exploring Financial Literacy. That will also be a module. And also our EY30, Career Explorations. That will also be another module. Look for those during summer conference. Do we have anybody who got bingo? Let's put it in the chat if you got bingo. Put bingo in the chat. Nobody got bingo? We'll wait. We'll let you tally it up. I'll keep going. And with our program area and curriculum, we do have a CTSOs. As you can see, for agriculture, we have FFA, Future Farmers of America. Business, Finance, and Marketing, we have FBLA, which is Future Business Leaders of America. Now, you don't see DECA because currently DECA does not have any middle grade events for students, so that's why DECA is not listed. We have Family and Consumer Science, FCCLA, Health Science, HOSA, Computer Science, IT and Technology is TSA, and then Trade and Industrials is Skills USA. All of the CTSOs provided currently have middle grade events for our middle grade students to compete in. I had the pleasure of going to a TSA state event last year, and I was just wowed about the things that the middle grade students, and the high school students, but the middle grade students really impressed me of their knowledge and their presentations. It was just a real nice experience. So getting students involved and kind of even just introducing them to the CTSOs could be very helpful for them, even if you don't have one after middle school, just helping them prepare for looking for those in high school. To get more detailed information about all of the curriculum that I did speak about during this section, you can go to our course management system. Amy has put the link in the chat, and you will get the full blueprints and more detailed information about each middle grade course and module presented here today. Moving along to our middle grades vision. The Middle Grades Vision was a project I started my first year coming into DPI. It was a project that was designed to help maintain and build excelling CTE programs. Last year, this ran as a pilot, and we had 10 counties that actively participated in the Middle Grades Vision pilot. The Middle Grades Vision just clearly states, as you can see here, basically trying to prepare high school students for college. Prepare middle grade students for high school, college, and career. And along with that vision, research shows that there are 8 areas of focus that can help build and excel a middle grades program, as you can see here. The counties who participated in the pilot received a middle grades vision guide, also with rubrics for each area. And what they did with each rubric for each one of their areas was kind of evaluate their middle grade programs to kind of see where they were excelling already and what they may needed to improve on. What we did, we met monthly and shared ideas and things that they were doing in different counties to help build their middle grades program, or just continue to help their middle grades program excel. From this area of focus and this middle grades pilot, this year we run it more as a resource. If you have not heard of it and you want more information and you want to talk with me one-to-one, I'll provide my email address again at the end. So please feel free to contact me. We can schedule a one-to-one meeting to discuss this, and I can give you more resources. But out of this actual vision, what came about is how you can partner with CTE, and just a couple of things I want to provide with you all on different ways you could help your CTE middle grades program. Enhancing the supplement instruction of CTE classes. That could look like just bringing in career development activities that you may have, work-based learning opportunities, and bringing CTSO presentations, which can be the high school students coming over to present to the middle grade students, just to get them interested so they'll know what the CTSOs are. Plan, develop, and support professional development that aligns with career development. You can provide teachers with effective instructional practices to help them promote career development within their classroom. If you have any hands-on lessons, you can share with them, and then how they can implement career exploration correctly and successfully within their classrooms. Enhanced communication at your school, working with between the teachers, kind of building that bridge between directors, especially if you're a CDC or middle grade CDC, building that bridge between the CTE directors and the CTE teachers in middle grades, helping them promote their programs, ensuring that the communication that is put out about our middle grade CTE programs is the pros, the benefits, the successes of middle grades programs, and then making sure that that middle grades program is running effectively as it comes to students during their career exploration. Because I say a lot, I feel like CTE starts in middle grades. So just think of the impact that it have on our high school if it's started effectively. Help teachers develop partnerships with local business and industry. Sometimes you may have new teachers or even veteran teachers that just don't quite know how to get those conversations going, to bring in guest speakers, to start field trips. So if you have a list or you know people that want to come in and want to talk or want to be a support to the middle grade students, kind of partner up with that teacher and help them kind of turn them in the right direction, because it may be that they don't want to do it, they just may not know how to do it. And then enhance your support by going by your classrooms, middle grade programs, and just conducting little visits. Maybe ask the teachers when are they having career exploration days and what type of career exploration activities they may be doing, and maybe stop by and kind of be a partner or just kind of see what they're doing and offer them some feedback or some high fives and just let them know they're doing a good job. So just stopping by and just checking on your middle grades teachers and supporting them when they are doing these activities. And again, just making sure the communication. I've had some middle grade CDCs that have shared with me newsletters that they do for their counties, and they do include their middle grade programs and middle grade students. So if you are doing something that you're sharing about CTE, please don't forget your middle grade babies and the awesome opportunities that they're doing in your newsletter and your communication with community and stakeholders. And last but not least, our showcase and spotlight, because we will love to actually come out and see some of the awesome things that you are doing with your CTE middle grade programs and your 5th grade awareness. As Jacqueline mentioned briefly, we did do a couple of tours last year, and our tours consisted of the counties that you see on the screen. They let us come in, and we had an awesome time at every visit. You can see the highlights if you are a CDC in the Moodle. I had placed every showcase and spotlight in my bulletin board newsletter. If you are a counselor, school counselor, and you would like to see these awesome things, email me. I'll email you the newsletter so you can take a look, or I will put it in the middle grades Google folder that Jacqueline has created for us. So we will love to come to your county and just see some of the awesome things that you're doing. It can be from classroom visits. We have done classroom visits where we've seen students in action doing hands-on projects, learning. It has been to career fairs. And I'll let Jacqueline talk more about the 5th grade items that we saw, but we would love to just come to your school, see some of the things you're doing. It's not an evaluation, not an observation. It's just to come see some of the exciting stuff you're doing. I come in with my phone and my car keys. That's it. So I can take pictures and leave when it's over. So that's how I come prepared for the visits. If you are interested, we are doing it again this year. We could do a virtual tour, which is more of like a live stream, face-to-face, or if you would like to send us pictures and or videos, we will also take those. And here is the form where you can sign up. There are spots available. We have a couple counties that have signed on please feel free to complete this form and you will receive an email from Jacqueline or me, depending on which one you're interested in, about your interest. Jacqueline, is there anything else you would like to share about 5th grade Showcase and Spotlight?
Just that we would be so thankful and excited to be able to visit you, and to echo what Ashley said about it's not, you know, DPI coming in to do anything other than to learn from you, so that we can take what you're doing and share it with folks across the state, and share your amazing ideas and credit you, and let folks know that, you know, these are some other things you can be doing with your students, because, you know, look at, you know, Wake County is doing, or look at they're doing over in Watauga. So these are some awesome initiatives that they could take, and again, like the toolkit and just like the continuum, really make their own to fit their students' needs. And again, yeah, we just come in with a cell phone so we can take pictures if you want us to. If you don't want us to take pictures, we won't. And then our car keys. So it's really low profile. It's really just so that we can learn from you and then share that information with other folks.
Thank you, Jacqueline. So that is all of the information I have to share with you today. I'll probably share more than enough for you. But if you do, I'll share my contact information. If you have any questions or the Showcase and Spotlight before you fill out the interest form and you feel like, oh, I want to know more about it, please feel free to email me. For middle grades, feel free to email Jacqueline for 5th grade, and we will try to communicate with you to give you a better idea of what the Showcase and Spotlight is. I will pause for questions at this time. Does anyone have any questions? So Jacqueline, in the chat, someone said, can you talk about the 5th grade career awareness survey?
Absolutely. So this is an annual report due to the General Assembly. It's a tiny little paragraph in the legislation, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, that states that if a local public school unit has adopted or created a 5th grade career awareness program, that they must report on it. So the survey, it's an annual survey that we send out in order to collect data for this report. It asks questions about innovative practices. The main topics that we ask about are work-based learning opportunities, guest speakers, and it's really how many students were exposed to each of these things. So the main piece of this report that I learned from, and that might be beneficial to you all, is the innovative practices question, which is towards the end of the survey. And so we hear from folks about what they're doing. For example, one of our panelists from the 5th grade career awareness education panel, when they brought in the different businesses for Touch a Truck Day, she brought in a hearse, and the students loved it. And so, because you hear about people bringing in like a cop car and an ambulance and food trucks, and maybe if they can get a truck from the line workers, the electrical workers, but you don't hear about people bringing in hearses, and you certainly don't hear about 5th grade and 6th grade, 7th and 8th grade students being interested in this, but they were. So it's just innovative things like that are in the last section of the last portion of the survey. It also gives you a good look, numbers wise, at how many 5th grade students are getting, are seeing, career awareness education throughout their 5th grade year, what sort of exposure they're getting, be it guest speakers, job shadowing, and work-based learning opportunities. And it really isn't work-based learning opportunities, more guest speakers. But yeah, it gives you a good look at the numbers in North Carolina. Can CTE fund activities for 5th grade? I'm going to defer on this one to Amy Schrader.
Thanks, Jacqueline.
Hi, Amy.
Hi, Jacqueline. Perkins does not fund all the way down. Perkins CTE funding does not fund down to the 5th grade level. Would Amy, I am thinking there's a few Amy Smiths out there, and I want to say your district can become creative on that and collaborating with school counselors who are in the elementary grades to help with that as well. There are creative ways to fund if you are doing a middle grades activity, which is funded by CTE, you would have your 5th grade students come up or participate in some way.
And Keisha Bryant commented, it would be cool to see some counties show CTE and counselor spotlights as well. I couldn't agree more. We would love to have more counselors involved in the showcase and spotlight tour. We did have one amazing. She's no longer a school counselor, but while we did our tour with her in Wilkes County, she was a school counselor. And I'm horrible with names. Ashley, can you remind me?
Whitney Abrams.
Whitney Abrams, and she's amazing. She is so amazing. She's just so enthusiastic about CTE, and she was so enthusiastic about being a school counselor and everything that she did for her students. And so, yes, so we have had a school counselor sign up for the tour, and so far we're in the. So I don't know if we made this clear, but so the showcase and spotlight has 2 sectors. One of them is you all showcasing them to us, and the other one is us spotlighting that across the state. And so Ashley, Matthew Smith, and I are very much in the process now of spotlighting you all across the state. We did start that at our 2023 CTE summer conference, but we are also brainstorming other ways to spotlight the work that's going on. So yes, Keisha, we did have a school counselor sign up, and it was amazing.
And Jacqueline, can I speak more to that? It was, I think it'll be what I was really wanting to highlight is that collaborative effort. So it would be cool to show, because that's what this partnership is about, is showing that we are collaborators. So if there are examples in the field of CDC, CTE, and school councils working together when you go out, that will be great, because it just shows the in-building partnership, the district partnership, and not the working in silos. And so as school counselors, career development is part of our comprehensive school counseling program. So we need to be working with our CTE partners. We need to be working with our career development coordinators, and we're stronger together. And so I think I would like to see that as part of the showcase, to show how we are working together with one another and not just saying, hey, that's your job, this is your job. But we're coming together to help bring greater career awareness as a united front and a team.
Absolutely.
And let me make that correction. Whitney is so I may have got the name wrong. Whitney is a middle grade CDC / SPC at Wilkes County. So let me make that correction. I may have not got the counselor name, because we were introduced to a lot of people that day, which was an awesome visit. But Whitney is our middle grades and special populations coordinator for Wilkes County. So I may have forgot that name too. Sorry. of the school council. I apologize.
No, my apologies as well. I did get a question. Where do I find the 5th grade career readiness survey, and when is the survey due? So it's due on June 15th, when we usually send it out at the beginning of May. And the survey link is sent to CTE directors from myself and my colleague Anna Hare, who's a regional coordinator for the Western region. And so really it's not a responsibility of, you're welcome. It's not a responsibility of you all by any means. You might have data that would be helpful for the surveys, but it really is something that the career and technical education directors have to fill out and send in.
I put my slides out of order, so I'm gonna go here first and then I'm gonna come back. Please feel free to follow us on our social medias for CTE, hashtag CTE for NC. We have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, now I guess it's X, LinkedIn, and YouTube. And if you have any questions or would like to contact me and Jacqueline after this session is over, please feel free to email us. Here on this screen is our email addresses. And now I'll go back, but continue to ask questions. I'll go back to the Amy.
Thank you so much, Ashley and Jacqueline. This fabulous information, and Keisha for echoing that it's everything that we do is in partnership. It's the best for the student. We are stronger together and work better for the student as we partner and work collaboratively. In the chat is the checkout form. Hopefully that works for you. If it doesn't work for you, if you could put your name, district in the chat as you did for the check-in, that would be great. Yeah, this is checkout. And again, Zoom does have a record of who's in the room, but this has been extremely informative. I've learned because when this dynamic duo does their spotlight and tour and showcase tour, they're learning some things I can't keep up with it. What you're hearing from CDCs and school counselors and the work together. Reach out if you have questions for Ashley, Jacqueline, Dr. Bryant, or myself. We are always available for you. I will put my title and email in the chat for you.
Can I just say one more thing as well, Amy?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, I love that I'm out of Burke County, so I love that I'm seeing Watauga, Hickory City, and then Catawba. So anytime that you all have, an event going on that has to do with 5th grade or middle grades, let me know. Reach out to me, please. I am happy with a flooded inbox when it comes to 5th grade career awareness and anything middle grade, so I can share with Ashley as well. So I'm seeing lots of folks who are local to me. And also you'll like when you go in the panel, one of our panelists was from Newton Conover City Schools. So close to home and fun things to see. Sorry, just had to echo that again, Amy.
Oh, I appreciate that. Absolutely. We do have a heavier Western contingency in the room from Central to West. I see Durham. And my apologies, I'm not recognizing some of the names. We hopefully, those are the names that belong to school counselors. Thank you for participating today. I'm going to stop the recording